increase their water intake, and 2 weeks later they coming back. It's like, man, that whatever you did, whatever you told me to do, I did it, and now he doesn't have those rashes anymore. If health is a state of mental, physical, spiritual, and social well-being, a state in which the body is functioning at 100% and not merely the absence of disease, then why is it that black people are the least healthy race on the planet?
Welcome to Black Health by Evoke, a podcast where we discuss the unfair access to care, health inequality, and the cultural and generational impact of poor health in our communities.
It's time for us to take responsibility for our own health. Meet Dr. E, Dr. T, and myself, Dr. V. We want black people to be encouraged and empowered, for our people are perishing for lack of knowledge. It's time for black health to thrive, not just survive. Blast off. What's going on, fellas? What's going on? What's going on?
What's going on, Dr. E and Dr. V?
Definitely.
Feeling pretty good, brothers. Feeling pretty good today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a little energized. We're doing it a little bit different today. We're doing it in the evening instead of in the morning, but I still feel good.
Definitely. Well,
which is great when you're over 40.
You must have had a good meal today.
I did, man. A good, nice, healthy meal.
What was it?
It was salmon and asparagus.
Salmon and asparagus. You know what? One of the things that I hear with vegetarians, and it's funny, we're not talking about vegetarians today out there, but I just hear that they be overweight and be having diabetes and stuff, and a lot, man. And I don't understand that. But you know what? Vegetarianism is a phenomenal thing, but you got to always stay within the realms, and you got to watch what you're putting in your gut.
The only people who say that vegetarians are unhealthy are people who not vegetarians.
I didn't say they was unhealthy. I didn't say they was unhealthy. See how you turn people around. Are you sure you're not an attorney, Dr. Everett?
That's all I'm saying.
Hey, those type of people are the people
love to point it out.
They like to eat a lot of meat. That's what it is.
Right.
First time when they hear vegetarian, so you don't eat meat?
There's no chicken wings.
Like it's something wrong with
There's
you.
no chicken wings with that?
No. Right, that's what they say. No chicken, no burgers, no nothing.
I said vegetarian.
None of that.
Yeah, but
I'm actually technically a pescatarian, but
so y'all keep using these words. We're gonna have to explain everything. So we're gonna have to.
Well.
You know what? That actually is a really good idea for a show. Is for us to talk about the differences between those.
I think that would be a really good show.
I think people would like to hear that. Yeah, I think because people don't know. People don't know.
Right. So for y'all, we're gonna put that in the archive because vegetarians eat vegetables, pescatarians eat fish,
yes,
seafood and vegetables. Right.
See, you already telling them there's not gonna be.
I know what a carnivore
is. Set it up now, man.
Show over, right?
But let's really get into talking about what we came here, and it's something I've seen. I'm seeing in my clinics a lot. I know you guys have seen it a lot. They're talking about it a lot on the news, and it is gut health. And when we do,
it's a buzzword right now.
Yeah.
It's a buzzword these days. Yeah,
very popular now.
And I think go ahead, Doc.
I think so popular that has become mainstream now. Is that with everything, look at your gut. I mean, gut it can affect your immune system. It's going to affect your overall health. It's just a lot about the gut health, man. Gut health. When we talk about gut health, what are we talking about? When you say gut, what are we saying?
System.
Okay.
Your digestive system.
Yes. Starting in the mouth, right? So your digestive system actually starts in your mouth. It doesn't start in the stomach.
Yeah.
It doesn't start in the throat, not in the esophagus, but in your mouth, right?
From the rooter to the tutor, as they say.
The entire digestive tract.
but really with that, I mean, and really understanding keeping it healthy and some of the things that are happening right now. When we talk about the digestive as far as the health of it and the walls. I mean, every time we eat something, something is absorbing within those walls, right? Nutrients, right, that our body's going to need. And then there's a whole process behind it. Doing the research, it's extremely important to have a healthy gut, because I heard it's your second immune system. It's the second most important thing besides keeping you healthy, besides your immune system.
Yeah, definitely.
I also heard
man,
it's the second brain. I read that it is the second brain as well.
What does that mean? What does that mean, Dr. Tippler?
So I can't tell you exactly what it means, but basically, you know, when you think about the digestive system and when you think about what we're putting in our bodies, the foods that we eat really dictates how well the body is able to perform and function. So, you know, the digestive system being the second brain, when you're eating things, it needs to know what it should be pulling from that food and what it should be excreting or trying to get rid of. So it has to be an intelligent system to be able to do that. Dictate, you know, I need this nutrient, we're deficient in this, I need this, all this, but we don't need that. So we're going to let that come out the, like Dr. Everett said, the tutor.
That's really it, man. When you're talking about the digestive system, is that it has to be smart, right? Because there's so much stuff in the food that we eat,
right?
So much good stuff, so much bad stuff, and the digestive system has to be able to effectively filter those things. But sometimes that system can go wrong, right? That system can get basically worn out and overstressed from the things that we bring into our body. Right, from the things that we eat and the things that we drink, that system can get overstressed. And when that system gets overstressed, it starts to dramatically affect our health. And, you know, one of the things I feel I always like to point out, and I always like to let people know, is that people on the wellness side of health have been talking about the gut for 100 years.
Yeah, long time.
We've been talking about the gut for over 100 years. And it's funny how the medical community catches up to something and then try to act like it was their idea. Like they came up with it. Like they did all the research and studies show, and we found out, and we did this research at this university. And I'm always reading these studies, and I'm always like, well, we already knew that.
Right.
We already knew that. One of the things that we already knew is that, you know, many of the diseases and the conditions that, if not all of the diseases and conditions that we suffer from, come from and generate from how healthy our gut is, how well it can delineate between what we need and what we don't need, how it can get rid of and eliminate that bad stuff and hold on to those good things. That is directly related to our health in a lot of different ways. So now what all these research studies are saying is that, you know, if your gut is not right, then you can suffer from this condition or that condition or this condition or that condition. When your chiropractor and your naturopath and your acupuncturist and your and your massage therapist and
reflexologist
and all these other people have been saying that, for your reflexologist, right, have all been saying that stuff for over 100 years,
right?
You know, but one of the things too, fellas, and I gotta ask, because within our community, one of the things that we know or that we've learned is that oftentimes it's an ignorance of ignorance, right? We don't even know that we're being troubled by these conditions. We don't know that that these conditions are impacting us and affecting us until it becomes a health crisis, right? Until it's a systemic disease or an autoimmune disease. What are some early signs and symptoms, or some things we can look at or we can pay attention to our listeners that they might have poor gut health?
Man, I'll tell you, one of the main things you can look at early, I think, would be skin conditions, you know, because, you know, a lot of people don't really think about the skin, but the skin is also, it's basically the largest excretory, what's the word that I'm looking for? But the
gland?
Not gland, but we'll just say gland. But the skin excretes. This is a way that a lot of toxins are excreted from the body, is through the skin.
It's the largest organ.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't know where my mind is. Maybe because it's late. But, you know, when the skin is probably one of the first places that we can look at, alongside just those natural things that we experience with constipation, loose stools, even just fatigue, just being tired all the time. These are things that we don't pay attention to, like you said, Dr. Vaught, until it becomes a health crisis.
That's really it, man. I think the first one that you touched on, Doc, is one of the most important ones. Your skin is very telling of what your gut health is like. It's very, very sensitive to being toxic, to being toxic.
Yeah.
So what happens is if you're in toxic overload, meaning you're bringing in too many toxins with the stuff that you're eating, that you're drinking, it overwhelms the gut. It overwhelms that system. And the easiest way for your gut to get rid of those toxins is through that biggest organ, pushing it out through the skin.
Yeah.
So the body is literally trying to save you from being over toxic by pushing it out through the skin. The problem is when it gets pushed out through the skin, it irritates the skin.
Yeah.
When it irritates the skin, it causes those things that we normally associate with just topical issues, right? Like rashes and eczema and things like that, right? Even things like as simple as skin tags.
Yeah.
Right. People always wonder where skin tags comes from. Those are toxins being pushed out of your body.
Exactly.
Excessive moles. As we age and you're getting a lot more moles. That's your body pushing toxins out of the system through your skin.
I find it interesting.
It makes
you
sense
saying
that's
that
where
too.
some of the solutions are.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, Doc. I don't know how many times we've had children come into the office. They have eczema, they have really bad rashes, and the first thing we usually talk with the parents about the diet of the kid, and then we just make some simple recommendations. We ask them about certain foods that they're eating, things that they need to eliminate. Take this away, take that away, increase their water intake, and 2 weeks later they coming back. It's like, man, that whatever you did, whatever you told me to do, I did it, and now he doesn't have those rashes anymore. But it's like magic. It's like magic. It's the lack of understanding how important the food that we're putting in our body, the decision that we make, and what we put inside our body, how harmful it can be or how helpful it can be. And I think that's the separation that we really want everybody to understand. When you're putting this stuff and your digestive system is being overwhelmed, you really have to make a decision on the quality of things that you give in your body versus, the stuff that's just causing all of these issues.
And so also, really listening to that and hearing you guys, talking about the organs and things that are pushing out toxins because of the gut health. Some of the other symptoms for our listeners will be like bloating and constipation and stomach aches and even heartburn. But the telltale, really looking at your skin, really looking at the way that your body is being impacted and things of that nature. So Docs, I hear these things about as far as with your gut health, what can help it. We oftentimes know that some of the reasons why our gut is kind of tore down is because we eat a lot of meat. It's got a lot of antibiotics in it. It kills the bacteria in the cow, so it's going to definitely decimate us. So, what are ways that we can bring that that natural flora of healthy bacteria back naturally?
I think the
first thing that
go ahead, Doc. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. So I was just going to say one of the first things to understand is the good bacteria get, like you said, when you bring in those antibiotics and things like that, it kills the good bacteria. The good bacteria are in our digestive system to break things down. That's what breaks down when we eat the foods that we eat or drink the things that we drink. It's that good bacteria that's breaking that stuff down and basically separating it out so then it can be pushed out into our system or eliminated.
Right.
So the problem is when we're too toxic, it kills those good bacteria. So one of the first things that has to be done is we got to replace the good bacteria after you start eating right. Right. After you start eating good and eating right, you have to bring back that good bacteria. So everybody has heard the word probiotic.
Okay.
Maybe not everybody has understood what a probiotic is, but we've all understood that if you got stomach stuff going on, you should take a probiotic. That's why, because when you get that bloating and that nausea and those skin conditions and all that stuff, we can almost guarantee that your digestive flora, meaning your bacteria, is not the good bacteria is not where it needs to be in order to take care of you the way it's supposed to. So you got to introduce that stuff back into your body.
Hey Doc,
So
I got a
is
question,
really
man.
important.
Where can people get a good probiotic? What are good sources of probiotic?
Ooh, kombuchas, bananas, sauerkraut, cabbage. Phenomenal supports places naturally.
Yep.
So what about? I always get this question. What about yogurt? I know this is a question that a lot of our listeners, the first thing. Well, can I have
question.
yogurt? I eat yogurt every morning.
Kefir.
I was on the highway the other day. And I saw a billboard, and it said, milk helps build strong bones. And I said, oh, we still doing that? People, I didn't realize. I didn't realize that there were people out there that still fall for that.
Milk does a body
but it's
good.
A billboard out there.
Yeah.
Right. Milk does a body good, right? And what we've learned over time is that is absolutely not true.
It doesn't have vitamin D in it, though?
Oh, it got some stuff in it, right? It just ain't got enough of the good stuff and way too much of the bad stuff. And that's the problem, right? That's the problem. And so they tell you about the good stuff, but they don't tell you about the bad stuff. And so yogurt just happens to be made out of the same stuff that supposed to do a body good, right? It's made out of milk.
Oh, Doc, say it ain't so, man. Say it's not so.
There's milk in yogurt?
I'm sorry.
What about the coconut? What about the coconut yogurt?
I'm sorry.
Coconut.
Now that's different, right? Now we having a different conversation.
Okay.
Right? It's a conversation for us pescatarians and vegetarians to be having, right?
Oh, yes.
But it is about being educated. It is about being educated about what's good for you and what's not good for you. And that's a long story. Yeah. But fundamentally, we know certain things like Doc, you talking about yogurt. We know that milk is one of those things that can be really hard on your system.
Definitely.
And really affect. Now, yogurt, they may dump some probiotics into your yogurt in order to try to sell it to you. But the things that the negative impact on your body is just too much when you can get probiotics in a very healthy way. Yeah.
So you would say, would you say the best way to get those probiotics would be through supplementation, or
Absolutely.
One of the best ways? Yeah,
one of the best ways, unless you're living in a region that your diet, your main source of diet is that, and then also too, we want our listeners to know that a probiotic isn't something that you take every day. It's something that you cycle. You can cycle on for 10 days and cycle off for, a couple of weeks, cycle on for 10 days, really because of diet. If you're going out of the country and you don't want to get a lot of the things that the shots and things, you can, as far as for food and things, you can start with your probiotics a lot earlier to build that bacterium up. So when you are eating and things like that, you don't, as far as not as susceptible to the things over there in the environment. So, fellas, I got some questions for you, fellas. So there are these things called probiotic, but what's a prebiotic? That sounds like a new electric car.
That's
what is that? What's a prebiotic?
The Nissan prebiotic.
Prebiotic. It can get 1,000 miles off an hour charge.
That's what it sounds like.
Better be careful. That car gonna be hitting the market pretty soon.
Right.
The prebiotic. It'll clean you out there.
A prebiotic
sound like it only come in electric blue.
Right.
Oh, man.
Doc, to answer that question, a prebiotic can be used in conjunction with probiotic as well. Okay. So it helps with that cycle that you were talking about, but it's still the main purpose of taking a prebiotic is to really help to balance out the flora. That's the only purpose of taking a probiotic as well as a prebiotic. Prebiotics, really just kind of helps to also lay that foundation to balance out that gut bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it strengthens those
The
probiotics.
Because I know the prebiotic kind of starts in the mouth, and for some people that some of the listeners were, if you're interested in a great prebiotic, because the prebiotic is going to help to strengthen that part, because they work together like Dr. Tipler was talking about. But believe it or not, gurgling in your mouth for about 2 to 5 minutes, coconut oil. Coconut oil has been a phenomenal prebiotic, and it's also been known to help with neurological disorders. A practice member of mine had some issues, and I remember her telling me about, she knew she had leaky gut, and she was taking probiotics, but they really didn't kick in until she utilized the prebiotic, because they work together. And so, I'm glad you kind of talked about how that worked together, Dr. Tipler, because it's going to help strengthen the results that people are going to get.
Yeah.
Now I want y'all to remember this conversation that we just had about prebiotics, because my prediction is in about a decade, the medical community is going to put out a research study that says studies show that prebiotics can help with your digestive health. That's my prediction. And they're going to act like they made it up.
Prebiotic.
Yeah, so y'all remember this conversation. Yeah, y'all remember this conversation. And coconut oil. Coconut oil too. It's going to be one out about that too.
Right.
That's kind of the way things work.
It's going to be the new thing. It's going to be the new thing.
It's going to be the new thing about a decade from now.
Right. Take prebiotics with probiotics.
Right.
Right.
The best thing you can do for your health.
Right.
Right. One more thing
on every news feed.
one more thing, fellas, before we actually end this episode. I think one of the other important factors that we need to mention when it comes to good gut health is fiber intake as well.
Yeah.
I think, especially when you look at the foods that you look at processed food, you look at fast food, you look at all these things that causes and leads to gut health. You get a lot of that stuff just cakes up in you. It just sits there and rots even more in the digestive tract, and it's hard to push those things out. It's hard to scrape the inside of the colon and the small intestine and all those things. But fiber, a lot of people do not get enough fiber into their diet. So my question is, Dr. Vaught, you always got you got the resources and the foods. And what we can be eating in order to increase the fiber intake. But what do you guys take? What do you suggest, or what do you use to increase your fiber intake?
Actually, with fiber intake, when I do my sweet potatoes, I kind of clean the skins really good on the skin on them, and I use them like it's like a fiber. As far as really kind of breaking, going in and scraping the intestines and things like that. I also like, as far as for a really good fiber, I like quinoa. It's a good protein, like grainy, like fibers for me. It's really filling, and it's kind of really good with a good mixture of things. You can have it, and then there's not many like allergies to it. And those are my two things I kind of use. And honestly, cruciferous vegetables, especially the more cruciferous grain.
What's the word? Do we need a bell for that? We need a bell for that.
We do. Hey, we need to have it flash out bright.
Right.
Hey, y'all need to read a book. Read a book. Read a daggone.
You say a what?
A string bean.
Okay.
Why you just say that?
Because I was talking about collard greens.
Trying to sound smart.
I was thinking about collard greens, man. The collard greens and kale, and that's cruciferous. You got to say that with that there.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm
What about you, Doc?
We'll put that on a t-shirt. How about you,
What
Doc?
about you, Dr. E?
So quinoa is a big one in my diet. I love it. Kale is a big one in my diet, in my morning smoothies. I love it. But really, when you're talking about fiber, that's just about all the vegetables that you can think of are high in fiber. And for some people, it may even require some supplementation. A daily fiber, a daily good fiber is something that can really, really help with that digestive health and keep you regular, because it is important for you to be regular, because that's continuing to clean out that digestive system, clean out those intestines, so the walls of the intestines don't get that build up in that cake and the caking of the walls, which can cause a lot, which Dr. Vault talked about, leaky gut, right? It can cause that leaky gut, and it can cause those toxins to leach back into your body and make you very, very sick. So like Dr. Tippler was saying, fiber is critical to your diet. Definitely. It's really, really, really important that you have it in your diet daily.
Nice.
And that's especially for you carnivores,
meat eaters.
Right? You all do the same thing we do to meat to fish. So don't think you that. Don't think you on that pedestal. I seen you bite a fish head. Okay. I saw you bite a fish head before.
Yeah, but have you ever seen what a baby chick looks like?
Come on, man.
You ain't never said that. And you ain't never said that about a fish.
Hey, my gosh!
You see a baby chick. You see a baby chick, and then tomorrow it's a full-grown chicken.
tomorrow, right?
Is it that fast?
Which is a whole other conversation.
That is a whole nother conversation.
It's like a whole That's a
well, that's good. Hey, fellas, I think before we leave, let's give our listeners a challenge, man. We're talking about gut health. Things don't change overnight. We can't we can't change everything about our health overnight. But what's one thing we challenge everybody to do, starting right now, that they can start to do every single day to improve their gut health? Dr. V? One thing.
When you wake up in the morning time, wait 2 hours before you drink your first cup of coffee. It's going to help increase the circulation. It's going to help with your pH levels, and also going to help with your cortisol levels.
Right on. Dr. E?
Yeah. I like that one. Mine is to take a daily fiber supplement.
Nice.
I think that's a real simple way to get started. It's a real simple way to get going, and it'll get you going.
I think mine is going to be the one thing I always go to first: increase your water intake. Increase the water intake. Half your body weight in ounces. Boom. That's our challenge for you all. Let's see what we can do about it.
There we go.
Let's make some changes.
There you go.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Black Health by Evoke.
He who has health has hope, and he who has hope has everything.
You can find us at www.evokingblackhealth.com or all social media platforms at Evoking Black Health.